from SAP as well. So for that purpose, we created a table in there, which was a custom table. Then we remember from yesterday that we have to create a data source, and through info package we take that into persistent storage area. Once the data is into persistence storage area, then we create the transformation and the data transfer process D2P to take it into the info provider, which is actually we use into our reporting, as you did with business analyzer tool, which was the previous reporting tool for SAP.
Okay, so today you feeling comfortable? Like yesterday you said like just a Excel file and took lot of process and lot of time. It's hardly 5 minute job to fetch the data from Excel sheet to end to the report. And the same thing with the putting the data in SAP ERP and then loading that the data to SAP BW and to reports. Actually, like when the instructor or during the training, so the instructor gave time to digest. So maybe that's something. But in fact, when you're doing for the client or for the projects, so that's not the big deal, I guess. You agree with this point?
Yes, I agree today because uh, it has to follow a standard process. So that goes for Excel and for even for extracting data from other sources as well. So standard making it on a same standard make it much easier to remember and do in the first place.
Okay, Mr. Naseeb.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just to add a few minor comments to what Wahid Saab said. Um, the data source that we created, actually it has to be first created in ECC. Now there is a business content wherein delivered data sources are given, but if it's not found, then you have to create one, a generic data source, and then that's replicated in BW, and the rest of the steps were explained very nicely by Waitza.
Okay, Mr. Wakar. You there? Mr. Faisal. Okay, so let's move to another scenario. So I just created one scenario in which, and I'm sorry I forgot to start the recording. And let me summarize what I did previously. So I created one table in SAP ERP using the transaction SE11, and then I used the transaction SE16 to populate that table with just 2-3 records. And later on, I created the data source in SAP ERP using the transaction RSO2. And later on, I checked whether that data source in ERP is okay or not. I used the transaction RSA3. So these are the standard transactions which we normally use. So there's nothing to worry. And once I make sure like the data source is created and that's perfect, then what I did later on, I, I joined to SAP BW Workbench using the transaction RSA1, and then using the application component which I used in SAP ERP, the same component. So I replicated that application component in SAP BW. And later on, I seen that data source which I created in SAP ERP in SAP BW. After replicating that data source in BW, the remaining steps were same. Like I need to create info package to push the data to PSA, and then DTP to push the data from PSA to the target, and then later on I just tried to show that data using Business Explorer in Analyzer. So that's what I did. So in the next step, I will try to use SAP created tables. Let's say like user asked to create some DSO or info cube for the purchasing. So how we move that? How we can move? So let's go to ERP now again. Go to SE11. So this SE11 is just the ABAP dictionary. So all the SAP ERP objects can be viewed from here. So this is the main gateway. So all object, everything you need to create or already created can be viewed, can be changed, can be created at this SE11 transaction. So let's have some transaction. I know EKKO. So let's try to display what's this. So this is purchasing document, right? It's a purchasing document header. Mr. Wahid, you say this? How you able to know this EKKO? So let's try to do that. So go to Google. So we need to get some information regarding purchasing. So you give the query SAP ERP or ECC table purchasing. So you see somewhere this is EKBN, EBAN, VBAC, EKKO. So with a little effort, so you will be able to see those tables. So it's not something big. So in just about first 10 links, you will be able to get the table name. So which table you need to look for. So that's something you can do in Google. So in Google, it provides a lot of information. So it's very good. So let's go to the system. So this is the header information. So you need to get the purchasing document items as well. So how you can reach there? Vahid, do you have any idea?
Does the header contain any link to its line items?
Yeah, that's perfect. So this purchasing document header must be linked with the items. So how we like find the tables which are related to this table. So luckily you found this one table. Maybe you found the item table or you found the header table, but you need both the tables. How you can do that? SAP has how many tables? It has just let me show you. It has how many database tables? Let's put star here. Click here. So it shows you the list. So it contains new selection. So it's just the maximum hits. It's this one. Okay. but it take a long. Let's forget it. We started the wrong transaction. So this is one table. So let's display it. Okay. So SAP has about more than 50,000 tables. So it's very difficult to remember. So SAP provided tools. So if you click here, it's graphic. So if you click here, just click here. So the first thing is it's showing like this table is related with which other table. So you say see like it's saying EKPO. So EKPO is the purchasing document item. So that's something we're looking for, right? Okay. And now you see the graphic. So it's showing all the tables which are related to EKKO. So if you go here, so you see EKPO is related with EKKO. What's the relation? It's one-to-many relationship because one header may have multiple. This is header, EKPAO is item. So one header may have multiple items. So it's showing you the link as well. So when you're developing, now we trying to gather the information which is required. So we need the purchasing information. So all the purchase orders, the other stuff. So that's something we got it. So let's close it. So we have two tables. EKKO. The other one is EKPO. If you display, so this is the item details. Mr. Naseeb, it's okay?
Yes, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. So the next thing is we need to get the business ask us to fetch the information from these two tables in SAP BW. So what's the first step? You going to guide me. It's your day. Mr. Naseeb. Yesterday was Wahid day. No, it's yours.
I guess there should be a ready data source in the business content in ECC which we can activate.
Okay, that's
And
fine.
then
Yeah, that should be the way of thinking. So we will do that later. So that's the third scenario which we're going to do today. So, but here, let's assume like there are some tables, maybe some custom tables which you're going to use. So some SAP tables along with some custom tables, and you're going to create a data source using all those tables comprising SAP and non-SAP tables. So in that case, you have to create the data source. So what's the first step in that case?
Generic data source would have to be created, and
Okay, that's we
I
going
guess
to.
it's RS02.
That's okay, but in RS02, if you if you click here, so it create a new transaction. So it give me
Yes.
another window, RS02, we enter. So let's give some name, ZMS purchasing. Let's create it. Okay. So how you can extract? There are different methods. Like the first method is to use the viewer table. Okay. You can use info set, which is the SAP query. You can use the function module. So there are different methods. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 different methods. So if you click here, so first you need to give application components. Let's say say purchasing, paste everywhere. If you click extract query, yeah, other field will be enabled. If you click function module, other will be enabled. So there are 1, 2, 3, and these are two viewer tables. So there are 4 different methods to create the data source. So let's save it. Okay, let's go to display table again. Yes, Mr. Naseeb. So you see the difficulty or the problem?
Yes, it is challenging.
What's the difficulty, the challenge? The challenge is you can either use one database table, but here we have multiple database tables which are related. So if you are going
Yeah,
to,
so I guess in this situation we have to create a view
yes,
which would pull data from both of the tables.
good, very good. So let's do that. So with your help, I'm going to create the view. So let's go to this view thing. I'm giving a different name, ZMS purchasing. Click just create. So there are different types of views. The one is database view, one is projection view, maintenance view, help view. So at this moment I'm going to create database view. Later on we will learn the other types of views as well. Okay, so here you need to give the table names. So the table names are EKKO. The other one is EKPO. Okay. So then you need to give the joint conditions. So how you determine? Yes, Mr. Naseeb. This is the real scenario which going to do now. This is not factitious. This is not dummy. This is real scenario. So the business asks you to use certain tables and move that data to SAP BW. They want to do some reporting. So you have to create views using certain tables, and then you need to create the data source, and you replicate in BW and then do the reporting. So here I need to find the relationship between these two tables. So how I can proceed. So you click just on this relationship. So let's say this is EKKO. So EKKO, it's related with EKKO. I need the relationship between these two tables. As we seen in the graphic, like EKKO is related with a lot many tables. So I just want EKO to be related with EKPO. So you just copy. Lovely, lovely, great. So it just putting the fields which are related. So they are like EBELN. This is the document number, and LPONR is just the mandatory thing. So Mr. Naseeb, you appreciate this?
Yeah, it's wonderful. It takes a lot of practice to reach this level of expertise,
Yeah,
and it's wonderful.
it's a butter thing. Yeah, it's good. So
It
next
takes a lot. It takes a lot of practice. Yes.
So next you going to go to the fields. So table fields, which tables like EK, KO? It's showing lot of fields. So which fields you want to show? So Mr. Naseeb, you guide me. So you want the client, you want the purchasing number, you want the company code. What else you want? Just give me two more fields.
Um, a useful one would be, um,
Purchasing group might
I guess,
be.
yeah. So something to do with the purchasing. Let's take the purchasing document category.
Okay, where is that? Okay,
Mm,
purchasing document
yeah,
type. Yes,
yeah.
that's it.
Vendor account number or name, if because purchasing without vendor would be not very meaningful.
Okay,
So probably the
where is vendor?
LT, yeah, something to do with the vendor. Just that's it for the practice. Yeah,
Okay, anything else?
vendor account number. That's it. That's it. I guess for the purpose of our
Okay,
demo, this should be okay.
okay. So this is one table. Now go to the second table. Yes, please. Maybe the material number.
Yes,
Yes, what else?
purchaser quantity.
Where is that?
It's a little below. Yeah, here. Here.
Okay, unit of
Yeah.
measure.
Yes,
That's it.
that's it. That's it. So it would be a good view.
So the other participant must appreciate why this SAP is too popular and all the big enterprises using this. So I hope you people, by just looking at these two tables, each table having a lot many fields. So it's up to you how many fields you want to use, and they provide excellent tools to work with these things. So you just copy. So that's it. So you just try to activate. If there are problems or errors, those will be mentioned. So which package? So it's my package, ZMS. So I'm going to save. Okay, the same transport. Warning, I don't care. Good. So if you want to see the contents, click here. Go here. Yeah, we see the data. So that's lovely. Okay, go back. And see what's the next step?
Now we would like the next is to find a data source, either in the business content or a generic one.
No, we going to create the data source because we created the view for the data source. Why we creating the view then?
Yeah.
Your like
Uh,
already provided data source will not cater your this custom view. You understand that?
yeah, that's right. We have to develop a generic one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So RS02.
02.
Yeah. Go there. So we already there. ZMS purchasing. So you create. It's being locked. So we're going to change it. Okay, create new one. Purchasing one. Create it. Or you want me to unlock the object? I guess it's okay. So where
I
you want
guess you
to,
have to step out a bit.
yeah, I can do that. So I am creating the new one. So data source is ZMS purchasing one. So MM. So here you type purchasing everywhere. Purchasing. Okay. Nasib, what should I do here?
Here you would give the name of the view that we just
And
created.
what's that name? So that's the
Um,
advantage of starting with the ZMS. So you just type here
yeah,
and then go here. So you see here, this is the purchasing view.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm done. So you just click save, store the object somewhere, put in a transport request to move from one system to another system, click save. So we done. Lovely. So Mr. Nasib, what's the next step?
The next step would be to
To check.
replicate this in the BW.
Okay, but before doing that, you need to check whether this data structure is okay or not. So what's the transaction?
Yeah.
RSA3.
RSA3, yes.
Okay, what's the data source name? ZMS. So this is purchasing one. So you go to extraction, 1000 rows, okay, show in ALV. Yeah, so we get the data. So the next step is we need to log into SAP BW and replicate this data source. So we happy. Let's go there. So we don't have to do anything with the SAP ERP now. So log off. So now go to SAP BW, HANA, object, okay, RSA1, go to data source. In a data source, you need to see here what's where we are. Okay, so we put this in this material management. You remember we put this data source in material management application component. So right now we don't have that object here. If you see, we don't have. So you need to replicate. So let's do the application. Replicate. Okay. Unselect everything. And you see we got the data source here. Press enter. Yeah, we done. Let's try to see that. Where is that?
You have to do a refresh, I guess. Refresh.
This is, you remember this is Z purchasing one.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Okay, so what's the next step? We need to activate it. Okay, it's active. So next step is you need to create info package. Let's give a name, info package purchasing. Okay, schedule. Let's start it. Get started. So go to monitor. So no record so far because the data is being fetched from some other application, which is SAP ERP. Refresh it. So it got all the records. So now we want to see the records. Go to PSA. We don't want to see all, just 10. Okay. Yeah, we got it. I want Naseeb, you comment on this, what we did.
We brought the data from the source system to the persistent staging area.
Yeah. So what's the next step?
To info. The next step would be a data transfer process, DTP, to
Okay.
take it from here to the target info object.
Okay. So Vahid, what's the challenge? You see some challenge here?
Mm, So, no, we also have to look for the mapping as well. In,
Okay. Mapping with whom? Do you have those objects?
no, we have to create the info objects.
Yeah, so that's a challenge. So
We,
that's the challenge. So we have to create the info objects and then later on, is this the master data?
this is the transactional data.
Transactional data. So this transactional data cannot go to info object, is right?
Okay.
So
So
the
what structure we are going
so
to
the
use?
transactional data should need to go to either info cube or to data store object, DSO.
Okay.
And but your info cube is just the structure having your info objects. So first thing, the lowest thing is the info objects. That's a mandatory thing. You must have to create. You have to create the info objects. Is that right?
Okay, so we have to create the attributes and the key values
Yes.
first.
So you have to create the like characteristics. You have to create the key figure, and then you need to create info cube, or you need to create DSO, right? So then you create a transformation which will map this PSA data to that info cube or to that DSO. Is
DS.
that right? So it's a big challenge. You seen like in those tables you have how many fields? Almost 300-400 fields. So you have to create
So
these 400
does
fields in
SAP,
SAP BW. That's a big challenge. We don't want to do that. Yes, Vahid.
so does so do SAP provides any pre-packaged info objects for these for
Yeah,
their
yeah.
SAP?
So that's the beauty of SAP BW. So why people don't use ETL tools like Data Stage or Informatica or any other tool? Because in order to use those tools, you have to create all these objects, all these structures from scratch. And SAP ERP is huge. Each table is comprising hundred of fields. So it's not easy. And it's not easy to determine the relationship between the tables. We just created the data source with just two tables. If you have to create the data source with 10 tables, so you need to determine the relationship between those tables as well. So it's a big challenge. So SAP provided the business contents. So using those business contents, so I'm not creating the InfoCube or DSO to move further. I hope you people understand. So how we move further. But I want to introduce something. Let's see that. So SAP provided excellent documentation for the business contents. So the first thing is you need to use the data source. So SAP provides data sources. For instance, for you want to do some reporting on purchasing groups. So you click here. So this is the technical name 2LIS02S011. This is the technical name for purchasing group for the data source, right? And this data source will contain all these fields. Okay. So where you find this data source, you click here, you select this, Control C, you go to SAP, you go to business contents. You see the data source here. You click here. No hit. So this source is not already being activated or it's not available here. Okay, that's a bad thing. Okay, so we continue with the data source later. So I just want to show you the, let's say, purchasing. What's the data source? This one. Try to find this source. No hit. What's the problem? We have business purchasing. That's the only source here. Okay, let's see something else. Let's go to InfoCubes. Purchasing group. So all the objects starting with 0 are business contents provided by SAP. So go here, go to InfoCube. Click Control V. We got it. Okay. So you see here, like 0 purchasing C01, this is purchasing data. So you see the color, this is already being activated by somebody. So this is vendor evaluation. This cube is also being in use. So somebody activated. So we talking about the purchasing group. This cube is not being activated. Nobody is using this. So you just click here, asking to use the source system. So we choose this SAP. Okay. So it's there. So it's showing the info objects, lot of info objects, info area, grouping. So here I'm going to use the objects before and after both. I will explain later so what I'm doing. It's doing something if you see in the taskbar. So this operation is expensive at the beginning because it's creating lot of objects. So it creates the cube and all the objects which are being used in that cube that will also be created. So that's a beauty. So that's a good thing. Meanwhile, Mr. Naseeb, you say something while it's being created. It's collecting the information right now.
Yeah, so this would really be our target object. for the data?
Yes, definitely. Not for the data source which we created. So we will be activating. So this is now. Now, if I'm saying before and after, it's including the query as well. So it's including the transformation. So it's doing everything. So what you're going to do? You're going to do the installation. And what's the collection method?
Salsa,
Yes, sir.
will, will this be the last topic we cover today?
Yeah.
Importing. Okay.
So using business contents, you can build or develop the SAP BW warehouse for any business in about 6 weeks. You just have to activate the business contents, activate the data sources, you activate the cubes or the DSOs, you activate the BEX queries, and you can use those BEX queries in your analyzer or in SAP dashboard or in SAP web intelligence or any tool. So the life cycle it's dramatically reduced. Mr. Nasib, you say something while it's activating the objects.
My screen is kind of stuck here, some bad internet connection, but
No, it's
um,
the same screen we all people looking at. So I'm not refreshing
yeah,
the screen.
okay.
So what are the steps when you're going to use BI contents? So how you proceed?
Um, when you activate the BI content, so then it becomes available for you, and it can be your target object, for transfer of data through data transfer process.
Don't you think like it create the TTPs, it can create the transformations, it do everything for you?
Um, I guess I haven't done practice on that side, but
If
let's
it
see
if
how
it
it goes.
do if it do, then what do you say?
Then piece of yeah, then that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so it's
That would be
wonderful.
wonderful
It's wonderful.
because it's a given, like it's a business content, so I suppose they should be there. Yes.
You see the transformations in this window as well.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, so while it's activating, let me show you something. So in purchasing group, this is so these key figures will be in that info cube, the number of contracts, number of contract lines, number of deliveries. So all these key figures will be in that. So this is the unit. So these will be the characteristic like 0 calendar day, 0 calendar month, week, fiscal year, fiscal variant, and purchasing organization, purchasing group, vendor number, version. So if you click here, 0 calendar day, what it will contain? So it will contain this zero date. So if you click here, it gives further information. So So that's important. So it contains what? So info cubes, and then you have the queries as well, which are already being written for you. So purchasing group, is there any purchasing group analysis quantities? So purchasing group analysis. So this is the query which is already being written for you. So it contains which free characteristics, so rows, columns, so a lot of information. So you don't need to do it again. So you just have to use this query. What else? So InfoCube we talked about. So this is a ODS object data stores. So here we have purchase order items, purchase orders, and order schedule lines. So we don't have the ODS for the purchasing groups. So for the purchasing groups we have, so if you need the detailed level data, so then you use ODS. And we talk about info source later. So what's this? So this is key figures. So there are a lot of key figures mentioned here which are being used in your DSO or ODS and your info cubes. There are process chains. So we talk about process chains in some other time. So data sources we talked about. So it provides a lot of data sources. So we just have to activate those data sources. So So in this session, I just want to give you the feel, like if you need to create the data source with, let's say, 10 or 12 tables, so that's not a small task. So SAP provided the already created data sources. Okay, so if you have the data source and then you have to create the transformation, so let's assume you have 500 objects in your PSA and 500 objects in your cube or ODS. So mapping those objects is also not the small task. So SAP provides the transformations, SAP provides the reports and everything. So in the next session, so we will take any scenario, maybe purchasing group or some other scenario, and we do end to end. So let's go back and see what's the status. Is that, yeah, it's just still doing something. Mr. Bakar, what you say? You have experience with other tools as well. So I appreciate if you comment on this. Yes, please go on. We can't hear you. I think it take a while to activate all these objects. So next time for the next session, I will activate all these objects and I will try to reduce this waiting time. So let's stop now and we will continue next time coming Saturday, and we will do end-to-end scenario with with maybe purchasing group or some other business requirement, and we do end-to-end scenario using SAP provided business contents. So if you have anything, please let me know, Mr. Naseeb or anybody.
Yeah, I would just request that for the next session, or let's say the end to end, can we take a real life, very close to real life, like a Coke scenario, or maybe a manufacturing, any other something which we can relate to real life, and perhaps, which is already built in an Excel model, and that would probably make it more useful. It's just a comment that I wanted to make.
So the question is the data. So if you want to use the data from the Excels, so that we already simulated. So that's not a big deal. So we can do that.
Okay, great.
But if you
And
want to, but that's also important. Like if you have the data in your SAP ERP, you have to use some real thing from like purchase orders, quantities analysis, or something which is already there, and you
yeah,
just need to activate the
yeah,
objects. That's
yeah,
regarding
that's fine.
SAP BW. You talking about in SAP a BPC perspective. So if you come up with the data and you share the structure you want to have info cube or whatever, so we will build the scenario for you and we will do that. So that we will be
Okay,
happy to do that. Is it possible for
yeah.
you to share on this group like some rows of data and some structure? So you want cube or you want ODS or which structure you want. So we will develop that structure or that information in the next session, or maybe in the next session we do with the business contents end to end, and later on we do this maybe on Sunday. Your scenario we will implement.
I guess that would be fine. Yes, let's deal with the business content because that's very thought-provoking, and it has a lot of knowledge built in there. Yes.
Yeah. So meanwhile, I appreciate if you share your few rows of maybe you do some massaging of the data, and maybe you grab the data and share with that data and the relationship and the structure which you want. So in the coming days I will prepare the structure and I will do it. So in the next time maybe people know how to create the info objects, how to create the other stuff, so there is no need to do everything from scratch. So I will be creating the structure and all the stuff, and in the next session I will just show and I just showcase. So that will save everybody time.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
Because it's working day and I have to be very early on the road, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that we wind up, at
Yeah,
about
yeah,
midnight. Yeah.
yeah. So we will stopping here and we continue next time. So thank you everybody for your patience and staying with me. So we will resume next Saturday same time. I will send the invite again. Thank you.
Yeah. Good night. Good night to all of
Good
you.
night. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.